My golden child sister thought sleeping with my husband would be overlooked because she's the favorite daughter. But turns out, this was the last straw for everyone. Now my parents have cut her off completely, refusing to fund her lifestyle, and made me the sole heir of their $2 million inheritance. Suddenly, my sister's reaching out, saying she regrets everything and wants to start fresh. I have a younger sister, Callie, who has absolutely despised me all my life. If you were wondering maybe it was out of jealousy, well, you were wrong. I wasn't the favorite child. She was. So she had nothing to feel jealous about. Let me give you some context. My mom has always pampered my younger sister. She was the golden child in our family. Mom would make her meals, do her laundry, and even ask me to assist with her schoolwork. I was expected to help out just because she's family, but the same courtesy was never extended to me. I came to accept it as I was quite independent. Perhaps it was partly my fault for accommodating her wants and needs without reciprocation. She never lent a hand when I needed it and only reached out to me when she wanted something from me. I was a quiet, introverted kid who liked to study and keep to myself while she was exactly like our dad, rough and loud. I also tend to be straightforward and honest, not sugarcoating things and saying it like it is. I believe my mother might have developed some negative perception of me as a result of my personality. As a result, she was everyone's favorite in our family. I didn't mind it when we were growing up, but the trouble arose when she found a way to sort of bully me or mock me for being different from her. She would mock me for my height or the fact that I was wearing glasses. She would sneak into my room and try to read my diaries so that she could complain to my mom about anything I had written. I would yell at her and complain to my parents about her invading my privacy, but they would laugh it off, telling me how it was not a big deal. She did more terrible things, like nearly breaking my glasses and putting nasty things in my food. She had even once put little stones in my cereal, but luckily, I found them before they could have hurt my teeth. I told my mom that, but she brushed it off, saying this is how sisters bond. Every time we would fight, Callie would insult me, knowingly focusing on all my insecurities. She and I went to the same school, so she was aware that I was being bullied by a couple of kids, and she would show support to those kids instead of supporting me. She would join them in calling me names like ugly loser or hairy monkey and encourage the bullies to physically harm me because, according to her, I was just a big failure. Another time, we had a fight about something I can't remember, but it was probably something silly. And at the end of the fight, she told me to kill myself. Other insults I could brush off easily, but that one really hurt because I was struggling with my mental health during that time. I'm doing better now. It just sucked to hear that my own sister wanted me to die. Dad was often at work, and Mom didn't seem to care much. She even scolded me once, claiming it was my fault for playing and irritating her. Things got progressively worse. There was a time she attempted to burn my hair when we were in high school, and shockingly, Mom sided with her, insisting she was just playing. Who plays like that? Seriously? Fortunately, Dad eventually took my side and pointed out that they had some serious issues. He threatened to call the police on Callie. This was an eye-opening moment for my sister because until then, she had never been reprimanded for any of her actions. She was really taken aback, and my dad continued to tell her how enough was enough, and that she needed to start respecting her older sister. Later, Dad came into my room and talked to me. I had never expected my dad to support me because he always told Callie while she was growing up how similar both of them were, which was true. Dad told me that he had patiently waited for years for Callie to grow up, thinking maybe she was just being an immature kid, but he was slowly starting to realize that Callie was becoming a big bully. When I heard my dad say this, I felt so validated that I almost broke down in tears. I confessed to my dad everything that Callie had done to me over the years and even opened up about the bullying in school. My dad was shocked that I was going through so much. The next day, he went and talked to the principal so my bullies could be warned about severe consequences if they continued. Later in the evening, my dad enrolled me in mixed martial arts at our local gym, and he told me that I needed to man up and stand up to bullies in my life. I will admit that a nerdy kid like me trying to learn to fight must have been laughable to watch. However, like everything in my life, I am very focused when I want to learn something. I carved out time for my studies so I could work out every day and go to the mixed martial arts classes. Not to brag, but it completely changed my life and my physique. One day, Callie was at it again. She had stolen my pocket money, which we used to get if we helped our parents with doing chores. I had been saving my money for quite some time. Callie had sneaked into my room and taken my money. I caught her when she was about to cycle off with her friends. I firmly told her to give me back my money since she knew stealing was wrong, but Callie snickered and taunted that all I could do was run to Daddy for help. I don't know what came over me, but I gave Callie a resounding punch to her face. She was stunned into silence as she fell backward on the ground. I picked her up and took out my money from her trouser pocket, and then threw her back down on the ground. Callie started to cry loudly like a little baby. It was comical to see a teenage girl crying on the ground. However, my mother came running out the door, hearing her baby girl, to help her up and find out what had happened. When she learned that I had fought with her, she was surprised and then started to reprimand me. She told me that as an older sister, I should teach better things to Callie. While Callie seemed to be enjoying seeing me being chastised, my mother also complained to my dad about how I had beat Callie up and how I needed to be controlled. My dad grimly asked both of us to explain ourselves. I told him how Callie had stolen the money that I had worked hard for and saved up, while Callie attempted to justify how she needed the money for a date and that, as my sister, I should help her. However, Dad told Callie that she was lucky that I just punched her for stealing my money because anyone else would have called the police on her. My dad continued to tell Callie how she had no right to take others' things without their consent. Callie didn't like that and started to throw a tantrum, probably wanting our mother to side with her, but Dad remained firm. When Callie realized that I was not going to be punished for punching her, she screamed how much she hated me and then ran back into her room and locked herself in. Since that incident, Callie maintained her distance from me. She had finally realized that she could not bully me anymore, and even Dad was not supporting her antics. For the first time in a long time, I felt we were equals. Even though she could not physically hurt me, she would try to verbally say nasty things to me when she knew our parents would not be around. It definitely got worse as she got older. It felt like each year, she became angrier and had a shorter fuse. If I approached her to ask something, she would simply ignore me to my face and walk away out of the room, calling me a nerd or a loser under her breath. If she wanted to say something to me, she would only go through our mother who would relay the message. I would question my mother as to why Callie could not just talk to me if she wanted something, and she would implore me to be more understanding. I had no clue if this was just her going through puberty, and I had to wait it out, or if she actually truly hated me. I used to be able to deal with the things she would say over the years, but it got to a point where I just wanted to move out of home to get away from her. I would go to my mother countless times asking if she could mediate a sit-down conversation for all of us to talk it out, but she always refused, saying she didn't want to get involved. I even asked for her opinion on why she treated me that way, but she would just brush off the question. Eventually, I went away to my dream university since I was a grade A student and was even qualified for a scholarship. My dad threw a party for me, and my mom seemed proud of me also. However, Callie remained aloof and distant, barely acknowledging my achievements. The day I left for university was a mix of excitement for the future and relief to escape the toxic environment at home. The first few months at university were liberating. I made new friends, enjoyed my classes, and started to build a life separate from the oppressive atmosphere I had experienced growing up. The constant fear of Callie's verbal attacks lifted, and I felt a newfound sense of peace. I began dating my husband, Kevin, when we were both in the second year of our university. My friend introduced us at a frat party, and we clicked right away. Coming from a religious family, having kids without being married was a big no-no. However, we found out I was pregnant when we were in the last year of our university, which prompted us to get married as soon as we graduated.